Hey everyone, so I just wanted to do a quick review before you take your quiz. So I'm basically doing like one of each problem. Remember, this is on vertex form, which if you recall, your vertex is your H and your K. Remember, for H, you do the opposite sign. Your A, remember, can tell you if it's a stretch, a compression. We'll talk more about that down here. Also, the sign of A tells you if it opens up or opens down. So this equation matches with this graph. I figured we could reference both of them since your quiz has both of them on it. So let's start with vertex. Vertex is HK, so HK. Remember, with H, you want to do the opposite sign because this is really minus -4. So our vertex here is actually -4, -2. Opens up or opens down? Remember, it opens up if A is positive. It opens down if A is negative. So take a look. This is A. A is positive, so this one opens up. If you were doing it from a graph, you can obviously see it opens up. Okay. Axis of symmetry, remember, is x equals h. We did that in the second part. So if h is -4, it would be x equals -4, which if you're looking at the picture, it's kind of hard to see. Whoa, not so neat. This is -4. And it's a vertical line through the vertex. Okay. Next is stretch or compression. So remember, it's a stretch if A is bigger than 1. It's a compression if A is less than 1 but greater than 0. So let's see, what is A? A is 1/4, so that means it's a compression. Does it have a maximum or minimum? So if that graph wasn't there, we'd have to visualize. It opens up, right? So that should look like this, which obviously I gave you the graph. But on some of the ones on your quiz, you're not given a graph, you're just given an equation. So because it opens up, it looks like this. So this means it has a low point. So we would say it has a minimum. And for the at, remember, we say at K. So the where is always your K value. So we would say this has a minimum at -2. See how on the graph right here is -2. I know it's really hard to read on here, sorry. Okay, let's do horizontal and vertical shift together. So these two. So horizontal shift is left and right. So remember, that's your H. And it's usually the opposite of what you would like think it would be. So if it's +4 inside, that's really left 4. You can also picture, if this is your vertex, you can envision, like if you're going to graph that vertex, you're going to go left 4 and down 2. So I just said the vertical shift. Your vertical shift is your K, which in this case is -2, so it's down 2. Okay, next is domain and range. Remember, domain is your x values from left to right, which is always going to be all real numbers. Okay, and then the range. So range, we use the K value. And you also think about, is y greater than or equal to that K value? So if we look at the equation, we know that it opens up, right? So that means that this is a low point, it has a minimum, so y is greater than, because everything is above it. If you're doing this from a graph, it's the same idea. This is your minimum, this is a low point, and so the graph is all above it, which is greater than. So our range here would be y is greater than or equal to -2. And so that's one of everything. So on your quiz, there are a couple problems where I just give you the graph and ask you a few things, and there's a few, probably more, where I give you the equation and you answer. Now, we had notes on this that you can use as well, so I just figured I'd just go over one more of each. There is one more example I'd like to do, and that's when you're writing an equation. So there's one of these problems where I ask you to find A and show your work and upload your work, and then I ask you to pick the correct equation. So remember, this is vertex form. I'm going to rewrite it here. And then remember, what you want to do here is label your points. Your vertex is HK. Your point is XY. So then what you do is you plug in HK, X, and Y, and we solve for A. So Y is 1. We don't know A. That's what we're trying to find. X is 2. Minus H is 4. Plus K, which is minus 7. So we take this and we solve for A. Remember, you do parentheses first in here. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. You just rewrite everything else. Then next is exponents. So 1 equals negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. And I'm going to put the 4 first, like this. Okay. Next, we add 7 to both sides. So that's 8 equals 4A. And lastly, divide by 4. A equals 2. Okay, so that's the first thing you have to do. The next thing we do after you find A is you go back to the equation, the vertex form, and you take A, H, and K. I don't know why I want to change the color. Sorry if that was very noisy, making all clicky sounds. Here we go. You take A and you plug it in here. You take H and you plug it in here. And you take K and you plug it in here. Your final answer must have an X and a Y. Again, your final answer must have an X and Y variable. Maybe I should be more specific. Must have an X and a Y variable in the final equation. So if I'm going to do my final equation, I'll do it right here. Okay, so it's Y equals, I'm not plugging in a number for Y. I am plugging in a number for A. So I got 2 for A. I'm not plugging in a number for X. And then it's minus H minus 4 squared and then minus 7 because it's plus K. That is your answer. Notice I have an X in it and a Y in it. Your answer must have an X and a Y. I cannot say that enough. Still, some of you are just plugging in all the numbers. Anytime you're writing an equation of any kind, a function, it must have an input and an output. That's your X and your Y. So there's one more example of that. But again, we have notes on this as well. So you could always go back and look at those notes if you need something more specific. I will post this filled in version as well if you'd rather just look at that and not watch the video. So please let me know if you have questions. I'm available during our regular class time and really all day if you reach out and let me know. But the link is on Classroom. All right. Good luck and have a great day.